Welcome back to part 3 of your podcast for the Unit 2.2 American Revolution Notes. Now that you're done watching video 4 on the Patriots video to the constitutional monarchy and analyzing that video, let's jump into the rest of today's lesson. This document here, this slide, is going to show us a nice little timeline so we can recap kind of the main events that took place in the American Revolution. Please make sure that you're filling in the blanks as we go from event to event. So in the 1760s, we know that the Patriots, the unloyal colonists who are against paying taxes to the constitutional monarchy of Britain, we know that these Patriots protest the unfair taxes and the treatment that they're receiving. In 1775, we see the American Revolution start. During this American Revolution, the Patriots are basically fighting against the constitutional monarchy of Britain. Now remember that the Patriots are the ancestors of British settlers who came to the 13 colonies. And so these Patriots are basically fighting against the government that their ancestors came from. The American Revolution, like we're going to learn next class, was a very bloody and violent revolution. Both the Patriot protesters and the constitutional monarchy's redcoat soldiers, both sides used violence in order to achieve their ultimate goal. Now in 1776, the American Revolution was still taking place. Nobody had won the revolution yet. But the Patriots decided that they needed to provide an explanation for why they had decided to revolt, meaning to go against the constitutional monarchy of their ancestors' country. So in 1776, 1 year after the revolution starts, the Patriots write the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is simply a document explaining to the world why the Patriots had started the revolution. Now in 1781, after the Declaration of Independence was written, we finally have the American Revolution end. The American Revolution ends with the Patriots defeating the Redcoats, defeating the soldiers of Britain's constitutional monarchy. And since they were able to win the American Revolution, these Patriots are basically able to break away from the British Empire, create their own country, name their own country America, and now they call themselves American. They no longer consider themselves to be British citizens or part of the British Empire. It's extremely important to notice that the American Revolution starts in 1775 and doesn't end until 1781, meaning that the Declaration of Independence is not a document stating the war is over. It is a document explaining why the revolution started in the first place. That's really important to know because a lot of students believe and confuse the Declaration of Independence as a document saying that the war is over. In 1776, when this was written, the war was not over. The war would not end until several years later in 1781. Now in 1787, the newly formed American nation basically decides that they need to create a big major law or a big major document that's going to outline how the new country will run. And so in 1787, the different states within the United States of America decide to create a document known as the U.S. Constitution. In our Unit 1 lessons, we talked about what a constitution is. As a recap, a constitution is a document that lists all the laws of a country and that explains how the government of a country will be set up. And so in 1787, when these founding fathers created the U.S. Constitution, they basically established that the Americans would be a democratic country, and they decided that the American government would be broken up into 3 branches: legislative, judicial, executive, because the United States would be using ideas like supreme powers and checks and balances. And so a lot of the things that we talked about America's democracy in Unit 1, a lot of those things can be found in this document written in 1787. And if we remember, a lot of the ideas in this document were ideas that the founding fathers borrowed from the Greeks, the Romans, and the Enlightenment period philosophers. Now, in 1791, a couple years after the U.S. Constitution was written, the American people and the American government felt that there needed to be an addition to the Constitution. That although the Constitution created a democracy, there still needed to be some type of language in the Constitution that protected the average person's rights. And so to the Constitution was added an additional part known as the U.S. Bill of Rights. The U.S. Bill of Rights is a list of rights that the American people have that the government cannot take away under any circumstances. So the U.S. Constitution outlines and explains the democracy that the United States has. But the U.S. Bill of Rights is a clear list indicating all of the freedoms that the American people have that the democratic government cannot take away. Now, if the Bill of Rights document sounds familiar, that's because we learned about a Bill of Rights during our last lesson on Glorious Revolution. After the Glorious Revolution, when the English people were able to overthrow their dictator and create a constitutional monarchy, the English people created their own English Bill of Rights. So if we see these two different revolutions, Glorious Revolution and American Revolution, we can see that both of these revolutions end with a Bill of Rights being written, meaning a document written which outlines and protects the rights of the people. We've now concluded the podcast for the Unit 2.2 American Revolution notes. You want to go ahead and take this time now to complete the exit ticket on your daily slip. Remember that this daily slip is going to be due on your return to class. For the directions, you want to rate your level of understanding for today's objective by completing the sentence starter here. A lot of you guys are not completing the sentence starter. You're either not circling your level of mastery, or you're not answering why you ranked yourself this way, or maybe you're not doing both. But please make sure you complete sentence starter 1 in order to receive full credit. Once you're done ranking your level of mastery for today's objective, you want to go ahead and complete the causes chart by answering the sentence starters inside. When you're answering the sentence starters inside, you must use at least 3 predetermined vocabulary terms. And here are the predetermined vocabulary terms that I have chosen for you. Pick any 3 of your choice and be sure to use these terms inside your causes chart. In order to receive credit for these terms, you must circle all 3 terms. So let's take a look at the causes chart you're going to be filling out. You need to provide a total of 3 different causes that led to the American Revolution. Once you've explained the 3 causes, you then need to go ahead and provide a definition for what the American Revolution was. By completing this causes chart, you will be answering the objective, which was, what is the American Revolution, and what were some of the causes? Remember that in this chart, you must use at least 3 vocabulary terms, any 3 terms of your choice, and the 3 terms must be circled. This concludes our podcast lesson. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the material in this lesson, please be sure to reach out to me either in person during office hours, via email, or via Google Classroom. I'll see you in class, and don't forget the daily slip for this lesson. It will be due next class.